I will vote for Donald Trump. I don't believe in fake news. All I need is the truth. Because we love our country. We love it just like you. Economy. For Trump. Life is good. For Trump. We love it like our country. We love it just like you. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. I love my freedom. I will vote for Donald Trump. Everybody to the right. I already chose my side. I will vote for Donald Trump. Let's go. Land of the free, home of the brave. I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump. You have to get. Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump. Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump.
Eso! Good evening, everyone. Please share this video. Join us tonight. We're going to be having people calling in. This is the phone number. This is the pre-debate. This is the pre-everything. So let's start. I think they are about to start soon. So let me just close this. There you go. Here we go. We're back. So they're about to start the debate. It's going to be in the next 30 minutes. But in the meantime, we want to start with hearing out some of your opinions. I know I love that song too, Lavon. We want to hear some of your opinions. For you guys that don't know me, my name is Becky, La Trompista from Lexit. We are the only Lexit Legit movement. If you don't see this logo here, or you don't see none of us, that means those are not Lexit. We are the only Lexit around. Thank you guys so much for trusting us, for opening your phones today and being here with us. So this is the phone number to dial. It's free. It's a New Jersey number. It's 908-249-0066. If you want to give your honest opinion on, the question will be, what do you think? Like, what are you expecting? Okay, what are you expecting from this debate tonight? So we want to hear you guys, not only the comments, but we want to hear it out. I have here the phone ready for you guys. So whoever wants to call and be, of course, respectful, anything you guys would like to say in regards of tonight, any expectations. Remember, this is the pre-vice presidential debate show, and then we're gonna go ahead and share the debate here with you guys, and we're gonna be commenting. It's gonna be like super funny. We're gonna have a couple of our friends from Lexit joining as well. It's not only gonna be me, so it's gonna be a fun night to watch together. So thank you guys for trusting us one more time. Hi, Janet. Hola, mama. What's up? New York. I'm here in New Jersey. This California girl loves the President Trump. Yes. This is so awesome. Yes, for Pence to kick her butt like Trump did Biden. That's right. It starts in approximately 30 minutes. So if you guys want to call, I'm ready to hear you out. After hearing Kamala Harris speak, I will have to take many showers to watch the film. Did I read that out loud? Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have a couple of like super long videos. Yes, it starts 8 Central. If you're in California, if you're in Pacific time, it starts at 6 p.m., which is 9 p.m. here in the East Coast where I am. Trump Pence, that's right, Texas for Trump. I'm just saying hi to everybody and giving some time to some people. Let me add my sister Jo. This is
Hello,
gonna be awesome, sister.
hello.
If
Hi,
you guys
how
don't
are
know,
you? How's everybody?
you're missing out. Like she is like your morning or daily dosage of laughter. Okay, if you need to laugh like super loud and people don't know what you're laughing about, please go follow my sister Jo.
Yes,
It's gonna be
yes.
awesome. We were just sharing the salsa. Oh my god!
Oh, okay, okay. Yes. My
We're
mom
gonna
sent me that the other day. I was like, girl, you're like a day short because the Lexit family already hooked me up like 3 days ago.
Yeah, we had them on the show on Monday. Well, yesterday it was great. It was a beautiful. I mean, what? Yeah, Monday.
Yeah,
It was a beautiful experience. They were super fun. I didn't know that was parents
yeah.
and son. It was awesome. It was really awesome. So
Yes, I love it.
before we share the screen, because we know it's about to start soon, you're gonna be here hosting the
Uh-huh.
debate. If you want to stay longer, that'll be awesome too. But we all have guys, we all are moms,
Yeah,
we have kids. It's a lot. But in the
yeah.
meantime, let's read some comments. Like I said,
Okay.
guys, if you wanna give us your opinion, call
Mm-hmm.
908-249-0066. Give us your opinion on what are your expectations on
Yeah.
this debate tonight. In the meantime, Puro Tejas, Trump 2020. Ooh,
It's
Idaho.
I'm
Nice.
looking up right now. Is it Susan Page that's going to be hosting or moderating, I should say, tonight?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't
Yeah,
know
I think
because
it is.
last debate had me on like a bitter taste with this like super
Yeah.
biased Wallace. So it was
Mhm.
like, a little bit like uncomfortable. It was like yes, you love the fact
Yeah,
that
I'm pretty sure actually I
we are for Trump.
yes, it's I was just out before I got home today and I saw like one guy on the corner of one of our big streets holding a Latinos for Trump sign with a big Trump flag. So I laid on my horn like crazy.
It's amazing. And now you and I are Puerto Rican, and we know that this week something
Mhm.
happened in where the governor of Puerto Rico endorsed Trump, and
Uh-huh.
a lot of people's like, "How do you feel?" I'm like,
Yep.
I don't even. I'm like, it's awesome, even though it's a huge deal. It's a big deal, and let me tell you why. Puerto Ricans in the island
Yeah.
cannot vote. And still they are supporting the president. There's a parade that's gonna happen soon. And it's like amazing the support because a lot of people
Yep.
thought, even the Democrats thought that Puerto Ricans were all Democrats. And this is a little bit the same thing as when the Democrats were being nice to Trump, thinking that Trump was gonna run as a Democrat. So when he
Yeah.
said, I'm running as a Republican, that's where he lost all of them
Right.
because they were thinking that Trump was gonna run as a Democrat.
Yep, yep, because he'd
Big-
been so close. He'd been friends with Democrats for so long that they just saw it, and yeah, that's awesome. I know, I was actually just telling my husband this too because it's funny that we think, you know, oh, it's just the Puerto Rican governor, oh, she doesn't matter, but the reality because she can't vote, but the reality is that that speaks to so many Puerto Ricans in the States, right? Because what that essentially does is it says, okay, what is Trump doing that the governor is going to go against the majority of the people over there
Ooh,
and endorse Trump after not being a Trump supporter? border, right?
Yeah,
That speaks to so many of my family members, So yeah, it's big time.
yeah. That is a big point, because a lot of people, they're like, wait a minute, so she's voting, she's endorsing him. Like, what was the big thing? Well, first
Hmm.
of all, she was the Secretary of Justice of Puerto Rico, okay, or something like that.
Hmm.
Something about
Yeah.
the court of Puerto Rico, and like she was like third in command, right? So when all these things
Yeah.
happened on Maria, she was aware of it. She knew what was happening. She knew
Hmm.
who she had to put under investigation with all these things that were happening. The laundering and all this
Yeah.
corruption. Okay, so then I don't know where she happens to be the governor because
Hmm.
of the whole unseating of the governor. So now we
Right.
have Wanda Vasquez. She's the new governor, and she knows at first hand what's going on in the island, how the
Right.
money's being handled. So when the
Yep.
president said, "Oh, the governor, they need to learn how to like manage money," she knows what he's talking about. She
Right.
knows she don't know how to handle it, and a lot of people don't. So it's huge of her to
Yeah.
recognize these things and to say, you know what, this is the
Yep.
precedent. And I've said it many times, and I know you agree with this, that this is the precedent that has done more for Puerto Ricans in the island than any
Hmm.
other president ever,
And
ever.
anybody. Yep. Ever. Ever.
I mean, when Puerto Rico became a federal territory of the United States, my grandfather, who was born in 1890, was 7 years old. We talking
Yeah.
about years. It's been more than 130 years, and well,
Right.
almost 130 years, and we have governors and presidents that haven't done anything for Puerto Rico. Now we have a president
Right.
that is
Right.
doing for everybody, and that is amazing
Yeah.
to see. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, thank you, Donald J. Trump. If you see this show
Yeah.
one day, thank you, thank you,
I
thank you.
know.
Have him right
It's
here.
crazy. I was actually That's so awesome. You're like, "Thank you,
And
Trump.
it's a
Thank you."
stretchy
It's
one.
crazy
It's a
because,
stretchy
I
one.
was watching a couple of watching a couple of videos, and people would literally, I mean, like, this goes past even Latinos that are supporters of Trump, but there was one girl that was talking, and she got like tears in her eyes, and she was like, Trump is my family. Like, when people wish death upon Trump, or when people talk foul about Trump, I take it personal, because it's legit. Like, he's fighting for my family. He's fighting at basically at the doorstep of my home. He's fighting for my children. So when they come for Trump, they're coming for my house, And it's funny too, because I was talking to my abuela. My abuela, she was dead set on not voting for Trump. She was like, no, he's mean, all these like little Telemundo was telling her all this other stuff. And, so, but recently I got on the phone with her yesterday, and I was like, abuela, did you see what happened? Like, the governor is endorsing him, yada, yada. And she was like, Yolari, I did. And, I think I'm going to vote for him, but don't tell the family.
So you red pill girl.
And I was like, well, good. Yes,
Oh,
I was like, well, good. I won't tell anybody, even though I'm telling you guys. I was like, I won't tell the family, but yeah, that's good.
I know, guys. Everybody knows, because I'm pretty sure your
Right.
family reflects
Yeah.
it. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say, but my abuela is voting for Trump. So
Right. Right. I'm like, I'm sorry, you guys. You're gonna have to. Yep.
look, Trump 2020, 2024, 2028. Curious thing
2028. Yes.
about this curious thing, that's something that my brother was telling me, that let's say for next year, well, for the next term, 2024, whoever wins
Yeah.
presidency, let's say if it's one of the Trumps, or if it's candidates, or anybody who wants to run for the office, they could have President Trump as
Mm-hmm.
the vice president if they want to. And I didn't know that. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that you don't know when, I grew up in the island. So a lot of the history and other things that I know is because I had to do my own research. Of course, when
Right.
you are raised in Puerto Rico, they teach you, the history of the United States, history of Puerto Rico, but it's not the
Mm-hmm.
same thing as when you are raised here, you
Right.
learn all about the United States of America. And it's
Yes. Yes.
sad that many like super American people that are born and raised here don't know any of it. And maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know, they skip history class. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
With,
Either that or they just, or just ignoring it because it's not what sounds good doesn't feel good, and what feels good is leading, So
definitely.
it
And what
sucks.
do you think about all these problems that are happening with you lucky because you're in Florida, but what's going on with these things,
Yeah.
um the voting by mail, like here, we got for the in July for primaries, 4 people were arrested. Then recently a truck was burned and it was in a Republican county. Today they arrested a
Yep.
mailman. I mean, come on, how
Mail. Yeah.
many incidents do we need to go through in order for people to realize that
Right.
mail ballots are not good? It's not the same thing, because people always say, "Oh, but what about the absentees and military?" It's not the same thing to count, let's say,
Hmm.
4,000, then 7 point something. I mean, the 327,000, 7 million people that there is in the United States, for example. This is
Ballots.
just an example. So the debate
Yeah.
is about to start.
Yeah. No.
It's not ready yet,
Yeah, it is. I see it.
but I can start first.
What's interesting is that, I think the people that are going to be mailing in votes or mailing in their ballots, I think at this point, those people already know, or even are leading with wanting, Trump to lose on fraud, right? Because I mean, if you genuinely care and you want to win the right way, you're going to show up. What does it take, right? Like you can be late for work, you can get called off of work just for voting. It's, I mean, you can't get penalized for going in to vote. So I think the people that are going to vote in, either send in their votes or vote by mail, are essentially, I mean, I don't want to seem rude, but it's just almost like, if you know that there's a possibility that there could be fraud on either side, right? Not saying that the Republicans are doing that, but I'm just saying, like, if you think that your vote can be counted for even twice, that's not ethical. And if you know that, if you want to be firm about where you stand and what you want to put your name on, you just show up. So,
No,
but
but
I
let me
also
tell you what's
believe
going
that,
on here.
at this point,
Go,
go ahead, tell me.
yeah, at this point, what?
No, I was saying no, go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
So what happening in New Jersey now is, when we call the electoral offices and stuff, what they telling us is that we are gonna be able to go in person and vote, but it's gonna be a paper ballot, and they still not gonna count our ballot within 10 days after we vote, and we don't even know if that vote is gonna be counted.
How can they do that though?
Exactly. So they are trying to steal the elections no matter what, at all costs.
Yeah.
It is insane. And I
Yeah.
really wish, we have like more than 100 people here. We almost had 200 earlier. I really want anybody. You're not gonna be on the screen. I have a phone here. I just want you to call if you want to give us any opinion or your expectations on
Mhm.
tonight's debate. Is gonna be at 908-249-0066. We are waiting for your call.
Yeah, call
Nobody's
us.
gonna see you. Nobody's gonna see your number. I can't even see your number because I have a special app that when you call us, we don't get to see your real number. Okay, so it'll
Yeah.
be like super cool to have you on. And in
I
the
really
meantime,
hope that this debate goes better.
I see. Please,
No,
please.
I was saying, I know. I hope it, because I was like, I mean, even though I don't feel like Trump lost. I feel like it was a very difficult debate to even see who came out on top, because it was a literal 2 against 1, right? So it's very difficult for you to say, oh, well, Trump had good points here, because Trump was defending himself on 2 different levels, right? Against Chris and against Biden. But for this specific one, I mean, I just looked it up, and Susan Page, she is very well, she's a it says that she's going to be the moderator, but she actually wrote a book for Nancy Pelosi. So she's obviously all the way left. I mean, if you're a Pelosi fan, you're like, you're so left, you're almost right. You know what I mean? So she's all the way left. But I feel like, yeah, she wrote a book for it's Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, she actually wrote a book about Nancy Pelosi, the moderator for tonight. So again, we have a liberal moderator who is going to try to sway questions to, help Kamala, but Mike Pence is brilliant. He's not only brilliant, but he is a very, very bold man of Christ. So I don't think that Mike Pence will more or less interject. I think Mike Pence will use that like separation time of Kamala's time to speak as a way to really wisdom, like to channel inner wisdom, maybe even pray in that moment so that he can answer questions and or bring up the very important things that Kamala Harris should be answering tonight. She should be answering a lot of questions about funding all of these criminals out of prison, funding all these child molesters, and like this SB 145 that just got signed by Governor New. Like, we want to know, are you for that? What's up with the new Green Deal? Are you about that? Because Biden didn't really let us know where he stood. There's just a lot of things.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be amazing. Now you're like making me want to really know more. Wait, this just started.
Yeah.
Let's hear it out. Guys, we're gonna be commenting.
Yeah.
If you guys want to call, go ahead.
And please open your programs and take a look at some of the many, many people that we owe a huge debt of gratitude for this evening. I'd like to start with Pentagram, which is responsible for the new look of the commission's name and color, as you can see right here on the flats, for starters. We are also grateful to Kroll and Mooring, which has supported our work significantly for years, and to State and Federal Communications, which has just come on board this year. We thank you all. As we speak, there is a Washington Filing Center being hosted at the National Press Club.
You saw the setup of the
that
stage.
Could not come here as they normally would to cover this debate. We are exceedingly grateful to them for providing
Of course,
this
they have to do that.
debate in a professional way.
Overreacting.
We owe special thanks to the United States Secret Service, Federal Bureau of Investigations, the Department of Homeland Security, and to the Clemson University's Media Club. I'm going to introduce the co-chairs of the commission, Frank Fahrenkopf and Ken Wallach, for their comments.
Is that the person who's going to be mediating?
Moderating?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't hear the name.
Salt Lake City, beautiful Salt Lake City. I'm a Nevadan, so I'm not too far. I recognize the desert and the mountains, and it's great to be here. And we certainly owe the university and the debate society that co-sponsored this. And I think as you walk through the campus and had an opportunity to see the tremendous job they've done and what a beautiful job they've done in here with all of the problems we have to do with our spacing, as you can see. Now, we also have, believe it or not, over 60 regular staff members, the commission, to put these debates on. And we have to go from Cleveland here to Salt Lake to Miami and then finish up in Nashville. And thanks to United Airlines, who's gratuitously flying our entire staff back and forth between these cities. And we owe them a real debt of gratitude. But probably no one do we owe more than the Cleveland Clinic. Those of you who were in Cleveland were there with a debate that was co-sponsored by the clinic in Case Western Reserve. But the Cleveland Clinic has been our advisor on medical issues, which is so important as we live through this coronavirus episode. So we want to thank them again for their tremendous work. And believe it or not, don't laugh, because it's been a major
I'm already laughing. You haven't even started.
Yeah.
8 years they provided for the staff, the million reporters that are out here, something to eat that they don't get back and forth, and they've been with us for 20 years.
Like Wallace and Malcolm.
Now I have to be sort of a scope. There are millions of people who are either in their homes watching what happens tonight on television, or they'll be at their computers, or they'll be on their iPads, watching to listen to these two individuals state their positions on issues that are important to American people. So we would ask you to not interfere with that by applauding, by cheering, by in any way getting involved. You're fortunate to be really today in a place of history. You can say you were
By
at this debate.
plotting. What the heck is
It's a
that? By
remarkable one.
plotting.
A very important one.
Right.
Do not get involved. Let those people see it in peace.
Por favor.
You were told when you entered here.
So I don't get to clap if I'm there?
Right. Air clap.
Take your mask off. Someone will approach you and ask you to please put your mask back on. If you do
Oh
not,
my God.
you will be advised that your ticket is canceled.
Your ticket is going to be canceled.
You pledged.
We're going to escort you out quietly. No clapping, no moving.
Assembly. And you will be escorted by law enforcement from the premises.
Oh my
God. He said it.
With what's going on up here. So we beg you.
That's why he heard me. He heard what I said.
As I'm off the stage here, mine's going back on too. So it's not just for anyone.
It's just not for anyone.
I also want to tell you that at 7 o'clock on the button, you're going to hear a whole lot of noise. Because all of these networks, the boxes are up behind you, will go on air to cover the debates. And you'll hear them go on air, and you'll hear some of their moderators talking and so forth. So don't get upset.
Don't get upset. Don't get distracted.
So we hope you enjoy. We hope you learn. I think this is going to be a tremendous evening. And
it's gonna be
missing one of our co-chairmen, Dorothy Dot Ridings, who
he sounded not happy. This guy
tonight, but she's in our thoughts. And Dot, you're watching. We say hello. So with that, let me introduce you my co-chairman.
the female moderator worked for Biden and Nancy.
Something more.
She worshipped Nancy Pelosi.
She wrote a book for her.
And fellow board members, and welcoming you to the 10th Vice Presidential Debate sponsored and organized by the Commission on Presidential Debates.
I don't know why this is so
As
funny.
the newest co-chair of the commission, I am proud to work alongside Frank Fahrenkopf, Dot Ridings, Janet Brown, and a talented staff and crew to deal with nearly endless moving parts, ranging from political press and production issues to cybersecurity and set design, to lighting and logistics. Over the years, they have created an institution that has made debates an important part of our democratic process, a view shared by the American electorate. Also, the advent of the commission-sponsored Debate Watch allows participants in watch committees in all 50 states and Puerto Rico to exchange views on issues raised in debates with those who agree and those who disagree. To listen respectfully to each other's opinions.
Puerto Rico ain't included. I think that Puerto Rico is going to be part. So on
million participants.
Yep.
And here in Utah, the Utah Debate Commission is carrying out a broad civic education program around these debates.
Okay. That was like como
It says it's starting in 5 minutes.
That was just kind of like the prelude, like the beginning, like just like the instructions. I think now they're about to start. Trump 2020.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they got all the stuff that they needed to say out of the way.
Now we ain't farting, and if we are, you ain't smelling it, so don't worry. Okay.
I'm over here eating. I eat peanuts when I get nervous. Peanuts and sweet tea.
Right. I'll just my ice before it expires.
Oh, you're drinking iced coffee. I love it. I wish I was drinking iced coffee.
So good. Ice, don't leave us. I have a lot of Puerto Rican friends that now hate me because I'm for Trump. Don't worry, because at the end, you will always be me, Michael Jimenez, and if they don't like you, it's their loss. Next. At the
Right.
end, we are more.
Exactly.
And we're genuine and we're passionate and we're patriots and we are for you and for everybody that respect the flag. So don't worry, you have gained a whole family.
Yep. Yep. I've gained a lot of friends and family throughout all of this, you know.
I should ask her about her being a male husband and her if is he a better Go. Yes, Steven. I think I saw the leader of Puerto Rico for Trump today. That was yesterday. It was amazing. Thank you, Steven. Trump 2020.
Trump 2020.
Ooh, look at this. Okay, we're about to start. The lady, this little mediator is already there. To me, she's close, isn't she?
Yeah, like I mean, what's so funny is that they look like they are legitimately, they probably had like a measuring tape and they were like 6 feet.
Like exactly the 6 feet apart.
Yep. Not an inch shorter.
Ooh, that's true. There's a lot of dirt on Kamala. So if you know the dirt, just, channel it. And that's good what you say, Yo, that for whoever just joined our live, please share it. We do this for free. We do this with passion because we want to educate others. We have a lot of shows throughout the week. Mondays, we do Spanish only. On Wednesdays, we have the war room, but tonight we have the debate. So we wanted to focus on the debate. Then tomorrow we have Lexit Talk, and it's amazing. And you guys, thank you so much for helping us and
joining us,
supporting us, and joining us. So please share this video so more people can see and have fun with us, because we're gonna be here throughout the whole debate, and we're gonna be here after the debate. We're gonna be keeping.
I might have to jump on after.
No, yes, definitely. And we're gonna have more people.
I'm gonna have to.
Lexit. Yeah, definitely. Because oh my gosh, you're gonna have so much fun.
I hope the after show is gonna be us like way different than we were when we after the after show of Biden and Trump, because we were like, all of us Lexit family, we were like saying, one of us was saying like, well, do you think that Trump hit on every point that he should have? And then other people were like, well, he couldn't, because we were like, okay, but then he had an opportunity, and then he was in, like, we were all kind of like giving our different perspectives too. So it was a really good talk.
And like defending him and not at the same time, because we knew he could have said more, but then we knew he couldn't either. So it's like we felt like kind of, like when you watch a boxing event and you're like, he could have watching this side and and he didn't cover himself.
Yeah.
Or like when you're
it's so funny. What did you say? It went dead.
Or like when you have like a NBA game and they're like, you see, their defense sucks. They weren't doing enough defense and da-da-da-da-da. So it's like it was a moment like that for us.
Oh my God, que mala eres. That's so good.
Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. You should make a video about that.
That's awesome. I'm going to. Kamala Harris. I'm writing it down.
Say it, Kamala Harris. Okay, Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. Without the H, Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
This is funny. Okay, I think. They're about to.
She's an inconsistent.
Salt Lake City. Welcome to the first and only vice presidential debate of 2020, sponsored by the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm Susan Page of USA Today. It is my honor to moderate this debate, an important part of our democracy. In Kingsbury Hall tonight, we have a small and socially distant audience, and we've taken extra precautions during this pandemic Among other things, everyone in the audience is required to wear a face mask, and the candidates will be seated 12 feet apart.
12.
The audience is enthusiastic about their candidates, but they've agreed to express that enthusiasm only twice, at the end of the debate and now when I introduce the candidates. Please welcome California Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence.
Why didn't do it individually? Why didn't they do it individually? It's not for you.
Thank you.
All those claps are for Mike Pence, okay?
Senator Harris and Vice President Pence, thank you for being here. We're meeting as President
And they said no clapping, so now everybody needs to leave.
in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19. We send our thoughts and prayers to them for their rapid and complete recovery and for the recovery of everyone afflicted by the coronavirus. The two campaigns and the Commission on Presidential Debates have agreed to the ground rules for tonight. I'm here to enforce them on behalf of the millions of Americans who are watching. One note, no one in either campaign or at the Commission or anywhere else has been told in advance what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll ask. This 90-minute debate will be divided into 9 segments of about 10 minutes each. I'll begin a segment by posing a question to each of you, sometimes the same question, sometimes a different question on the same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without interruption by me or the other candidate. Then we'll take 6 minutes or so to discuss the issue. At that point, although there will always be more to say, we'll move on to the next topic. We want a debate that is lively, but Americans also deserve a discussion that is civil. These are tumultuous times,
throwing
but we
it on
can and
Trump.
will have a respectful exchange about the big issues facing our nation. Let's begin with the ongoing pandemic that has cost our country so much. Senator Harris, the coronavirus is not under control. Over the past week, Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states have set new records. Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country. And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at
And all of that is
frontline
Trump's
workers who have
fault.
been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the vice president and the president were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne.
Urban twice.
And they knew what was happening and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th?
Because Fauci said there's no problem.
They knew and they covered it up.
So when they listened to the scientists, it was wrong.
But don't listen to it and you're still wrong.
You're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all. That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on and we need to save our country. And Joe Biden is the best leader to do that. And frankly, this administration has forfeited their right to re-election based on this.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, more than 210,000 Americans have died of COVID-19 since February. The U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population is higher than that of almost every other wealthy nation on earth. For instance, our death rate is 2.5 times that of Canada next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force. Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every
Because
other
we
wealthy
test
country?
them.
And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Susan, thank you. And thank the commission and the University of Utah for
What up, yo?
that. We're here. It's a privilege to be on the stage with you.
How are you doing?
Going through a very challenging time this year. But I want the American people to know that from the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China, President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done. And that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resources support they needed. And we began really before the month of February was out to develop a vaccine and to develop medicines and therapeutics that have been saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe we'll have literally tens of millions of doses of vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. And quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. I think the American people know that.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Health
Vice
of America first, and the American people
My boy Pence.
are
Yes.
proud of the sacrifices they have made that saved
Thank you,
countless
Vice
American lives.
Toma.
Senator, would you like to respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 200,
But it's the same thing that he just said.
American lives that have been lost, families that are grieving that loss.
Sickening. They're trying to blame. They use the
The
virus as a weapon for political.
They want to use whatever the plan, Trump's
on
plan.
January 28th,
Plagiarism.
how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
But Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to
I
add,
have to
if Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Yeah, you can
So
have 15
I
more
wanna-
seconds, and then we'll give the Vice President
Thank
a
you.
chance to
So I
respond.
want to ask the
Yes.
American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were you when your kids were sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back? How calm
Thank
were
you.
you
Thank
when
you,
your
Senator
children
Harris.
couldn't see your parents because you were afraid they could kill them?
Let's give Vice President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President, you have
He's
1
talking
minute.
about.
You know, there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers. But when you say what the American people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice. The
Toma.
sacrifices the American people have made.
I'm referring
The
to
reality,
you,
if I may finish, Senator,
She's a hot mess. She's a hot mess.
everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence that we'd get through this together. But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March,
They said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. But that's the reality.
Thank you.
They also
Thank you,
said
Vice
to us, if
President
we did
Pence.
everything right, Susan, we could still lose more than 200,000 Americans.
Vice
Now,
President
one
Pence.
life lost is too
Thank you.
many, Susan. But the American people, I believe, deserve credit for the sacrifices that they have made, putting the health of their
She
families
looks
and their
stupid.
neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first
Thank you, Vice
responders.
President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American people have done.
Vice President Pence, you were administration and congressional officials. No social distancing, few masks, and now a cluster of coronavirus cases among those who were there.
Why don't they talk about the Russia hoax? Let's see if they talk about that.
Safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID.
Pence is the
When you at the
OG.
White House have not been doing so.
Stupid question, man.
People have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first. And President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources to New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney
Yes,
Barrett.
thank you. Thank you, Vice
But
President
at
Pence.
that, if I may say, that Rose Garden event, there's been a great deal of speculation about it. My wife Karen and I were there and honored to be there. Many of the people who were at that event, Susan, actually were tested
Yes.
for coronavirus. And it was an outdoor event, which all of our scientists regularly.
She don't want to let him
advise.
talk.
The difference here is
Already.
Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their health. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus.
That was a leftist question they asked, eh?
Green New Deal, all government
say it,
control.
say
We're about
it.
freedom and respecting the freedom of the American people.
Let's
Say
talk about
it.
respecting the American people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect
they
the American people when you have the courage
Which we've
to be a
always
leader,
done.
speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves. But this
Exactly.
administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker knowing you didn't have enough money saved up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude.
Because Pelosi
of
doesn't
the
want to sign a
administration
bill.
that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people. So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have had to sacrifice far too
Tell
much
that to
because of
Pelosi.
the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked
No,
about
Vice
It
this.
is asking too much of the people.
Look-
That they would not be equipped with the information they need to help
Information
themselves
don't
to protect
fit me.
their parents
President-
and their
I'm sorry.
children.
Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I'm sorry.
It's fine, I'm Kamala.
No, you're Senator Harris to me. For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say that most of the people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine.
No.
If it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
Woo!
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it.
Que
Absolutely.
bustera, yo,
But if
she
Donald Trump
lying.
tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Vice President Pence, there have been a lot of repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest
Look at
United
why ain't there no questions attacking Biden or Kamala? See, look at the question.
Just
Joe Biden will
COVID.
be 78 years
Their question was attacking Trump and Trump has COVID and his administration. And look at the question now.
sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization.
Should be that Obama and all them got busted for the Russia hoax.
Have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on
well,
to the
thank
issue
you,
of
but I would like to
vice
go back
presidency.
because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives.
Yeah.
We believe before the end of this
Pew, pew,
year,
pew.
and it will
That's
have
the new slogan. We're gonna say that. Stop
Oh.
playing politics with people's lives. Make a meme of that, Becky.
undermining of confidence in
And put a picture of Pence.
it's just unacceptable. And let me also say, you know, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine states. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States,
Say it.
not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted.
Woo!
If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own
Wow.
chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck.
Thank you, Jesus.
They did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the strategic national stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but we
Thank you,
still
Vice
learned
President
from it.
Pence.
And I think
Vice
the
President
American
Pence, your time
people,
is
I'm going
up.
to say again, can be
Vice
proud
President Pence, I'm
of
sorry, your
what
time
we
is
have
up.
done. And Senator, please
Thank you, Vice
stop
President
undermining
Pence.
confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked Vice President Pence, which is,
She won't be
have
able
you
to
had a
answer it.
conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call.
Pence did great. Yeah, Pence did great right there.
It was probably one of the most memorable
It
days
was
of
so
my life.
memorable. Oh my God.
I thought my mother,
Pence of the beast.
who came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25.
Who cares?
Hospital in
We
Oakland,
talking about
California.
you, not your mom.
And they thought that I'd be sitting here.
She's all feelings and all that. She just
Yeah,
wants.
like,
Make her
oh,
proud.
nobody cares.
and down.
Your mom ain't gonna make
You know,
what
Joe
America
and I
great
were
again.
raised in a very similar way. We were raised with values that are about hard
Thought
work,
he was a racist.
about the value and the dignity of public service, and about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all people. And I think Joe asked me to serve with him because, you know, I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco, where I created models of innovation.
Where you
for
created
law
a
enforcement
lot
in
of
terms of reform of the
Frisco. Who would want to from Frisco vice president liberal? Hell no.
be elected Attorney General of the state of California, where I
yeah,
ran the
to
second
mess
largest
up
Department of
people's
Justice in the United
life.
States, second only to the United States Department of Justice. And there I took on everything from transnational criminal organizations to the big banks that were taking advantage of
Oh yeah, she's
homeowners,
black this
to
week.
for-profit colleges that were taking advantage of veterans. And then, of course, now I serve in the United States Senate as only the second Black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Is
where I've
this
been
like a
regular receipt
resume
of
interview, like a
classified
job
information about
interview?
threats
Yeah, like what is she saying?
the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers.
Telling her life story.
Yeah.
And
Who
I think Joe
cares?
has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share.
Oh, because he was trying to get the black vote. That's why he got you.
And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator Harris.
You were trying to
Neither
sting.
President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers, or refuse to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is this information voters deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
Well, Susan, thank you. And let me say, on behalf of the President and the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the President. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the President received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and will continue to do that. And I'm just extremely grateful, and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic
He's
nature.
such a gentleman.
He is. He's such a humbling man of God.
On this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But the reality is, we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year, and the stakes have never been higher.
Thank
but I think the choice has never been clear.
I want to give Senator Harris.
Look at her, she cuts him off.
Not even 2 minutes.
Voters have a right to
Did she do that to her? No.
About presidential candidates, and especially about presidents, especially when they're facing some kind of challenge.
Absolutely. And that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly transparent. And certainly by contrast, the president has not. Both in terms of health.
She's talking about that's why he even got investigated, all kinds of investigations and everything.
Of great investigative journalism that Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. When I first heard about it, I literally said, "You mean $750,000?" And it was like, no, $750.
So we're talking about COVID and Trump.
And is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because
none of your
American
business.
people have a right to know what is in.
She's asking those ridiculous things. Biden better bring up the Russia hoax, and Biden knew about it and all that too, man. I hope Pence brings it up.
Well, what am I gonna do with that information?
Because it has to be across the board.
Is that gonna make me richer?
Transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest. He is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been about covering up everything.
Thank you, Senator.
Wow. All kinds of stupid investigations, but he's covering up stuff.
Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
The American people have a president who's a businessman, a job creator, who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice President.
Look at how she cuts him off so fast.
Rolling back regulation.
Thank you, Vice President.
Look at that, Becky.
He's gotta keep going.
Thank you, Vice President.
If Joe Biden,
can you give me a break?
Good segue into our third topic, which is
wow,
another aspect of life.
He didn't even get to finish what he was saying.
By this coronavirus, we have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry.
Yeah, they always got to say something negative, though. They can't just say the economy's great and that.
I got no way. I'm
Nearly
gonna
11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year.
What's up, No?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, brother.
Blacks and women.
Interesting debate.
Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion lifting taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs. Would raising taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted. Thank you.
On the issue of the economy, I think there can be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing.
Give me a break.
Benefiting the top one and the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for.
Thanks to Obama.
On day one, Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people.
I don't know why she talks like that's a good thing. That she's gonna
Is that right? Well, he's been doing it. He's been for 47 years. He ain't did nothing, but all of a sudden now he's going to
do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads.
He will. What about he has done? He has done.
And renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science and invested in research and development so that we were an innovation leader on the globe.
I mean, he had like 47 years to do that. So why didn't he do it within the 15 years that he was doing that?
Exactly.
Your community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes
free
$25,000, you'll go to a public university for free. And across
socialism jumping off again.
Student loan debt, it's cut by $10,000. That's how Joe Biden thinks.
See how they just try to buy votes. That's all they do. They're disgusting.
Typical socialist tactic.
Which of letting American corporations go offshore.
And we, the working class, are the one who's going to have to pay for that.
Exactly. It's not free.
The administration has been predicting a rapid and robust recovery, but the latest economic report suggests that's not happening.
See, always something negative.
Or something different.
Comeback that is going to take not months, but a year.
Not the same answer.
2 minutes to
answer. Not the same question.
When President Trump and I took office, America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. When Joe Biden was vice president, he tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy.
That is true.
Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of four had $2,000 in savings and taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hardworking Americans, the average household income for a family of four increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think. I mean, right after a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs behind, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, save 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal.
Yep.
We were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate.
Say that.
They want to abolish fossil fuels and ban fracking, which would cost hundreds of thousands.
All right, Pence is doing good.
And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China, that when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs that President Trump put into effect to fight for American jobs and American workers.
Yep.
It says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot. With 4 more years of growth,
thank you,
and opportunity, 4 more years of
When
president.
Pence goes straight to the point, he does well. When he starts with his story stuff, I don't like it. But when he goes straight to the facts, he destroys her every time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear.
They keep calling us liars.
Anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said
a
he's going to
year.
repeal the Trump tax cut.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Be important if you said the truth.
Exactly.
Debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Fact check that. Fact check that. YouTube.
Working families.
Fact check that one.
$1 in a tax break every single year.
That
Senator,
is
that's the math.
absolutely not true.
Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cut?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation. Okay?
Yeah, by
Please.
lying.
Okay. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He's on the record saying it.
Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act.
Wow, Biden was?
Now the Trump
By sending
Pence
everything to
administration
China.
wants to take credit
Wow.
when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden.
She don't know what she's talking about.
For the economy that they had at the
I thought it was Obama. Now it's Biden's.
complete disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression.
Because of the virus, duh.
Who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20 million Americans and protected people with pre-existing conditions. And what it all
Premium like crazy. Yeah, I remember that.
Otherwise, we're going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of, the Affordable Care Act.
She's just doing word salad. She's not saying anything.
Pre-existing conditions, and this is very important, Susan.
Yes,
and it's
but we need to give Vice President.
I just like he interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please. If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you.
Trump already taking
What
care.
a liar. Yeah, Trump already said he ain't a freaking liar.
Only $14
on your parents' coverage. They're coming for you.
Senator Harris, thank you. Let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance to talk about health care because Obamacare was a disaster. You remember it well. President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and protect pre-existing conditions for every American. But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. Multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking. Joe Biden and pointed
said on multiple occasions
guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuel. We have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. This is more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy.
It's on the record. There's footage.
A prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President. Because once again, you provided the perfect segue to a new topic, which is climate change.
Climate change. Why is that a question? Why ain't it Antifa or the riots?
Record-setting
Climate change. Give me a break.
Delta is now threatened.
About the Russia hoax.
Record-setting wildfires in the West. Do you believe?
Give me a break, eh?
Has concluded.
Mama Gate, none of that.
Yeah.
Corruption.
All that. Yeah.
The
None of that.
And have made hurricanes wetter, slower, and more damaging. You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First, I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation. According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded. And our water is among the cleanest.
That's a fact.
And just a little while ago, the president signed the Outdoors Act. It's the largest investment in our public lands and public parks in 100 years. So President Trump has made a commitment to conservation to the environment. Now, with regard to climate change, the climate is changing. The issue is, what's the cause and what do we do about it?
That's it.
Made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the Green New Deal, which would crush American energy, would increase the energy costs of American families and their homes, and literally would crush American jobs. And President Trump and I believe that the progress that we have made in a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation. And we've done it through natural gas and fracking, which, Senator, the American people can go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning the fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering toward a stronger and better environment. With regard to wildfires, President Trump and I believe that forest management has to be front and center. And even Governor Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management. And with regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually, as difficult as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today than there were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
Woo! There's no more than 100 years ago, he said.
To try and
Thank
sell
you,
their
Vice
bill of
President.
goods of a Green New Deal.
She keeps cutting them off.
Always
The U.S. leads in greenhouse reduction
So,
gas.
Mr. Pierce, the Vice President mentioned you co-sponsored the Green New Deal in Congress. But Vice President Biden said in last week's debate that he does not support the Green New Deal.
Say it.
But if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign website, it describes the Green New Deal
Wow.
framework.
Wow.
What a question. A real question.
Yeah.
Toward the Green New Deal. You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Man.
He ain't gonna answer it.
I will repeat, and the American people know that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Green New Deal, not the fracking.
Promise, not a fact.
That Joe Biden has been very clear that he thinks about growing jobs, which is why he will not increase taxes for anyone who makes less than $400,000.
Talking about the Green New Deal.
So
Joe Biden's
how
economic
they gonna
plan.
have free stuff?
Moody's, which is a rep.
She's pivoting from the question.
Yeah, she is.
Because they gotta change the website.
And
They're gonna update it.
jobs that will be created by Joe
Like now trying to talk about taxes again at Trump's.
clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see, Joe understands that the west coast of our country is burning, including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by storms. Joe has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa, whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods. And so Joe believes, again, in science. I'll tell you something, Susan. I served, when I first got to the Senate, on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change off the website? We have seen a pattern with this administration, which is they don't believe in science. And Joe's plan is about
They don't.
deal with it, but we're also going to
Saying a man is a man and a woman's a woman.
about the wildfires.
I wish you would explain
And the question
scientifically.
was, you know what Donald Trump said?
She made things up.
Science doesn't know. So let's talk about who is prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about
Completely dodged the Green New Deal question.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
50 carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration.
What
and really
happened
has been
47
to go
years ago?
backwards
Where
and
was his
forward.
plan
We will
then?
also re-enter the
And how much is it going to cost?
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change is
No.
an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But once again, Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one, he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to the average family of four across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people Look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out, the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion Green New Deal that would impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us to
Thank you, Vice
retrofit 4 million
Thank you, Vice
American
President.
business.
Look at how she always cuts them off, Becky.
Cost jobs. President Trump
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
put
President.
America first. He's going to put jobs first. He's going to take care of our environment and follow the science.
Thank
But
you, Vice
you know, on the
President.
issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment.
She just lets her go and just change the Senate. What's it if she want to do that?
You lost it. What ended up happening is because of a so-called trade war with China, America lost 300,000 manufacturing.
Thank you,
jobs.
Biden.
Farmers,
Yeah, who got us there in the first place?
because of it. We are
Thank
in
you,
a
Biden.
manufacturing recession because of it.
Thank you, Biden.
And when
Because of that, I thought it was because of the COVID.
there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration.
Because of COVID, dummy.
I'm talking about. You know, I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we have a 20-year-old.
These are the same people that want to lock down the country completely.
Exactly, costing more jobs.
Crazy.
Exactly.
Is there going to be a job there for me?
And they're trying to blame Trump because of the job.
Trying to figure
Not
out.
They're the ones keeping everything shut down, but they're blaming Trump for the economy.
Worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month.
No, you're
This
not.
is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the
That you
failure
guys
of
caused.
leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris.
I would ask her, how are you going to keep the economy closed and make new jobs? Like, how are you going to do that? I would ask her that.
Look,
Yeah, with the economy closed. Exactly.
trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it.
Woo!
The economy with China through over the last several decades.
Fact.
And again, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe
Again.
Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs.
That's a fact.
China said they were never coming back. He said we need a magic wand to bring them back. In
And
our
we
first 3
have
years after we cut taxes,
magic
rolled
wand
back
Trump.
regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000
Thank you, Vice
manufacturing
President.
jobs.
Let's just cut it again.
Growth we're going to continue to see as we bring our nation through
Thank you, Vice
this
President.
pandemic.
Wow, she keeps cutting them off.
Your mandate, your Paris Climate Accord, it's going to kill jobs this time, just like it killed jobs.
I just need to respond very briefly.
15
Oh, no, you got to respond.
Thank you. Joe Biden is responsible for saving America's auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the record straight. Thank you.
I'd like to talk about China. We have, as our next topic, we have no more complicated or consequential foreign relationship than the one with China. It is a huge market for American agricultural goods. It's a potential
What
part-
about Biden's son taking money from China? Is that a question?
And Russia.
Yeah, where's that question?
and China will pay. Vice President Pence, how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors, adversaries?
Bring up Biden's son.
2 minutes.
Thank you, Susan. Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that NAFTA cost literally thousands of American factories to develop.
Say it.
We saw automotive jobs go south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land.
That's a fact.
You deserve to know. Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA.
Wow, she did?
It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change, that you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. People deserve to know that. It's probably
And Pence is putting it down.
said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019, more liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others in the United States
He's
Senate.
even laughing.
Now, with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus.
Fact.
And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people.
Fact.
They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in dealing with China from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of America for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China, President Trump made that decision before the end of January to suspend all travel from China. And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President Trump's decision to suspend all travel from China. He said it was hysterical. He said it was xenophobic. President Trump has stood up to China. We're going to continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President.
We want to improve the relationship, but we're going to level the playing field. We're going to hold China accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Right.
Hold on.
So let me ask you the same question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we
Kiss your ass.
competitors,
It's your time now.
adversaries,
Kiss up.
enemies? You'll have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in the loss of American lives, American jobs,
What is she
and
talking
America's
about?
standing.
What is she talking about?
There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and by
What accomplishment?
So she's,
She's just trying to suck up to the black vote, like they're saying that about Obama.
she's confirming that because he canceled China, that's why they throw the coronavirus on
They
us?
got rid of it. There was a
What
team
accomplishment?
of disease experts that President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor what is now predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives.
Allegedly.
Again,
Let's look
allegedly,
at the job
exactly.
situation. We mentioned before, the trade deal, the trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in the loss of over 300 manufacturing jobs and a manufacturing recession, and the American consumer paying thousands of dollars more for goods because of that failed war that they called it. And let's talk about standing. Pew, a reputable research firm, has done an analysis that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they do Donald Trump, the president
The Communist Party!
of the United States. This is where we are today because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
She's going over 2 minutes.
Senator Harris, we've seen changes in the role of the United States in terms of global leadership over the past 4 years. And of course, times do change. What's your definition? We've seen strains with China, of course, as the President mentioned. We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So, Joe is, I love talking with Joe about a lot of these issues. And, Joe, I think he said it quite well. He says, foreign policy, it might sound complicated, but really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships. And so we know this in our personal and professional relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends.
Oh, now they're friends.
People who are good with you.
Now they're friends.
You got to know who your adversaries are and keep them in check.
Like China.
But what we have seen with Donald Trump is that he has betrayed our friends and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia. So
Russia.
Here we go with the Russia hoax.
The United States Senate. America's intelligence community told us Russia interfered in the election of the president
No,
of the
they
United States.
didn't. It was
No, they didn't. It was Hillary made it up.
The director of the FBI
she don't want to
said
go
the same.
there.
But Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community.
Yeah, the ones that they were just doing a legal investigation.
He's walked away from agreements. You can look at the Iran nuclear deal,
this week,
which now has put us in a position where we are less safe because they are building up what might end up being a significant nuclear arsenal. We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear deal with friends, with allies around the country. And because of Donald,
Are you kidding? You're giving them pallets of money.
She's saying that the nuclear deal was a good thing. Taxpayer money to people to build up against us. Great.
Susan,
It's a great idea.
And the thing that has always been part of the strength of our nation, in addition to our great military, has been that we keep our word. But Donald Trump doesn't understand that because he doesn't understand what it means to be honest.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, thank you. Well, President Trump kept his word when we moved the American embassy to Jerusalem.
And talk about the Russia hoax.
When Joe Biden was vice president, we promised to do that and never did.
Boom!
We stood strong with our allies, but we've been demanding. NATO is now contributing more to our common defense than ever before, thanks to President Trump's leadership. We've strengthened our alliances across the Asia Pacific, and we've stood strong against those who would do us harm. You know, when President Trump came into office, ISIS had captured an area of the Middle East the size of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
But President Trump unleashed the American military, and our armed forces destroyed the ISIS caliphate. Took Baghdadi without
No
one
war.
American casualty. Al-Baghdadi was responsible.
Gone.
Death of thousands. But notably, America's hearts today are with the family of Kayla Mueller, the parents of which are here with us tonight in Salt Lake City. Today, two of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to justice in the United States.
Yes.
Jihadi John was killed on the battlefield along with the other beetle. The reality is that when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla Mueller. Breaks my heart to reflect on it, but the military came into the Oval Office, presented a plan. They said they knew where Kayla was. Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated.
That's right.
And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved to
just like Benghazi.
And her family.
They didn't hesitate. They just ignored him completely.
If President Donald Trump had been president, I believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look,
President.
we destroyed the ISIS caliphate. And
Let him
you
talk.
talk about re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, the last administration transferred $1.8 billion to the leading state sponsor
Thank you, Vice
of
President.
Terrorism, yep, 100%. That's a fact.
Vice President Pence.
And when Qasem Soleimani was traveling to Baghdad
Thank you,
to
Vice
harm
President
to Americans, President Donald Trump took
Thank you,
him
Vice
out.
President Pence.
And America is safer. Our allies are
That's right.
American people
That's
know
right. No
President
war.
Donald Trump will never have.
Thank you, Vice
We
President.
funded the military, unlike Obama.
Senator Harris, a chance to respond, but not at such great length because, of course, there are other topics we want to talk about.
But I would like equal time.
Yes,
Thank you.
please go ahead.
Yeah, just like he wants to see
First of
equal
all, to
time.
the Mueller family, I know about your daughter's case, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, please.
What happened to her is awful, and it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way.
Yeah, right.
And I know that President Obama feels the same way.
Mm-hmm. They didn't do shit.
But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there. So after the strike on Soleimani,
Here we go.
strike on our troops in Iraq, and
No casualties.
they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's.
What is she talking about?
Where are these facts? Where are these
Our
trash
men
papers?
who are serving in our military as suckers and losers. Donald Trump, who went to Arlington Cemetery and stood above the graves of our fallen heroes.
What is she talking about?
No
What's
idea.
in it for them? Because of course, you know, he only thinks about what's in it for him. Let's
Oh
take
my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
John McCain, a great American hero. And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very important when you want to talk about who is the current commander in chief and what they care about and what they don't care about. Public reporting that Russia had bounties on the heads of American soldiers. And you know what a bounty is? It's somebody puts a price on your head and they will pay it if you are killed. And Donald Trump had talked at least 6 times to Vladimir Putin and never brought up the subject. Joe Biden would never do that.
Thank you.
That's proven to not be right. That's like debunked already, been debunked.
Account for any threat to our nation's security or to our troops who are sacrificing their
You don't know what she's
lives
talking
for
about.
the
There's
sake of our
everything
democracy
she
and our
said
safety.
is
Thank you,
fake.
Senator Harris. This is such an important issue, but we have other important issues as well. And
Susan,
I want to make
They just saved her. You saw that? How they saved her just now?
She has,
15 seconds because
well, I gotta
we're
have
trying
more
to
than
keep.
that. Look,
Well, I'm sorry, Vice President,
Look,
but you've
I-
had more time than she's
the-
had
the
so far.
slanders against President Donald Trump regarding men and women of our armed forces are absurd.
I'm sorry, Vice
My son
President.
is captain in the United
Yes.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure all of you, with sons and daughters serving in our military, President Donald Trump not only respects but reveres all of those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous. Let
Thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say,
President Pence.
the
Vice
American
President Pence,
people deserve, Susan,
Vice
the
President
American
Pence,
people
I
deserve to
didn't,
know.
Vice President
that-
Pence, I did not, excuse me,
Susan, the
I did
American
not
people
create
deserve
the
to know
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden.
Your
and Trump-
campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's
I-
debate with the Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm here to enforce them, which involves moving from one topic to another, giving roughly equal time to both of
Go
you,
right
which is what I'm trying very hard to
Go
do.
right ahead.
So I want to go ahead and
Yeah,
move
but you're not doing that though. That's the problem.
as the last topic was, and that is the Supreme Court. On Monday, the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to open hearings on
You're
Amy
talking
Coney
about things
Barrett's
that have nothing
nomination
to
the
do
Supreme Court.
with
Senator Harris
what are they
will
going
be
to
there
do
as a
for
member of the
America.
committee. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling. Access to abortion would then be up to the states. Vice President Pence, former governor of Indiana, if Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before.
Damn, he wants
The
to go
American
back
people
no matter
deserve to
what.
know Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members.
But Pence needs to go quick to the point and address it though.
So I'm headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate. And Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani. It's really inexplicable, but with regard to Joe Biden, it's explainable. Because history records that Joe Biden actually opposed the raid against Osama bin Laden. It's absolutely essential that we have a commander-in-chief who will not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have with President Donald Trump. Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United States, let me say President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity to see Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Come on, Pence, move it, man. Answer the question, buddy. You don't got much time.
Woman, and she will bring a lifetime of experience and a sizable American family to the Supreme Court of the United States. And our hope is, in the hearing next week, unlike Justice Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others, we hope she gets a fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before. And the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee before, when Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals, expressed concern that the dogma of her faith lived loudly in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees you actually attacked because you remember the Catholic Knights of Columbus, just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views. And
Thank you, Vice President.
So
Your
my
time
hope
is
is
up.
that when the hearing takes place,
Thank you, Vice President.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
respectfully,
Pence.
voted and confirmed
Thank
at the Supreme Court of the United States.
Senator Harris,
I wish you would have answered that better, though.
Attorney General of California. So let me ask you a parallel question, the one I posed to the Vice President. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First of all, Joe Biden and I are both people of faith, and it's insulting to suggest that we would knock anyone for their faith. And in fact, Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic as president of the United States.
Practicing?
On the issue of this nomination, Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People are in the process of voting right now. And Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that seat on the United States Supreme Court. And to your point, Susan, the issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice, and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and the vice president.
That Donald Trump. Instead of not the president, that Donald
Trump. It's the Affordable Care Act. Like, literally in the midst of a public health pandemic, when over 210,000 people have died.
Tied to the coronavirus somehow.
You have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus. Donald Trump is in court right now trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act.
Again,
and I said it
this
before,
is the second time she says that.
This means that
she's doing a word salad. She's not saying anything.
For people with pre-existing conditions.
Again, the same thing, pre-existing
over 20 million people will lose your coverage.
Se lo embotelló.
It means that if you're under the age of 26, you can't stay on your parents' coverage anymore. And here's the thing. The contrast.
Why would you want to be under your parents' coverage at 26?
So Biden's saying, let's expand the public option or private. Let's bring down premiums. Let's lower Medicare eligibility to 60.
Thank you, Senator.
That's true leadership.
You know, you mentioned earlier, Vice President Pence, that the president was committed to maintaining protections for people with pre-existing conditions. But you do have this court case that you are supporting, your administration supporting, that would strike down the Affordable Care Act. But the President Trump says that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has not explained how he would do that. And that was one of the toughest nuts to crack when they were passing the Affordable Care Act. So tell us specifically, how would your administration protect Americans with pre-existing conditions have access to affordable insurance if the Affordable
He's already
Care
doing
Act
it.
is struck down?
Well, thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very first question, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president. The president stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it.
Boom.
And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast.
And your ground, baby.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth.
Wow. Say it.
Abortion, increased funding to Planned Parenthood of America. Now, for our part, I would never presume how Judge Amy Coney Barrett would rule on the Supreme Court of the United States.
He needs to hurry up so he can answer all the questions.
Yeah, he needs to quick.
Think about the Supreme Court, though. I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you can change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed at the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In 1864.
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
She ain't gonna answer it.
Here we go. Word salad time.
One of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume if you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln.
Mhm.
Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election. And it was
Republican.
27 days before the election. And a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court.
Okay.
Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land.
Okay.
Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who
But
will
that
serve
seat is
on
not.
this most important
It's not
body
for an
for a
election.
lifetime.
Thank you.
The
Senator
commander-in-chief
Harris,
is to
voting
choose,
right now,
to
they'd like
nominate.
to know if you and Joe Biden are going to
There you go. That's it.
support
Put it right back on her.
in this nomination.
Let's talk about
You
packing.
once
Come
again
on,
gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a
I'm
non-answer.
trying to answer you
The American
now.
people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight
But
answer
she had like a minute to answer, and she didn't. She gave a
is how win this.
story.
Men and
Mr.
women,
Vice President,
I got to tell you, people across this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump, and we'll stand by that separation of powers in a 9-seat.
Yeah, let's talk about
Right.
Let's talk about
Please.
the fact. Yeah, I'm about to. So the Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments, the lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is Black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing the court? Let's have that.
And she's Black.
No, thank you, Senator. Let's go on and talk about
Yep.
the issues.
It was a
Black.
identity politics immediately. Segue.
Black
Maybe
this
the next
week.
debate, Joe Biden will answer the
Thank
question,
you,
but I think
thank
the
you.
American people know the answer.
Thank you, Vice
Woo!
That's right.
In March, Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency
Ay,
room
Dios
technician in
mío.
Louisville, was shot and killed after police officers executing a search warrant in a narcotics investigation broke into her apartment. The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer. The officers then fired more than 20 rounds into the apartment. They say they were acting in self-defense. None
You
of them.
see how she's automatically making the question sound like in a negative way towards the police immediately. Like she's setting up the question in a negative manner from the beginning.
You have 2 minutes.
But there was a report today in which it's shown that
mother,
the boyfriend, in fact, was
and her family.
said that she was
And
shooting
her
at the
family
cops.
deserves
Yeah, I saw that. And
beautiful.
then his testimony.
She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street.
And she had warrants,
become a
and
nurse
she was
and
shooting
say
at the
that
cops.
her life was taken
Yeah, because she was
unjustifiably
shooting
and
at the cops.
tragically and violently. And it just it brings me to, you know, the 8 minutes and 46
What are you gonna
seconds that America witnessed, during which an American man was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed, uniformed police officer.
And that's Trump's
And people
fault.
around our country of every race, of every age, of every gender, perfect strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, fighting for us to finally achieve that ideal of equal justice under the law. And I was a part of those peaceful protests. And I believe strongly that, first of all, we are never going to condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear, including the fight to achieve our ideals. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject, look, and I'm a former prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about. Bad cops are bad for good cops.
Yeah. Oh, like you?
Like her.
Our police department and our
Like you?
which is why Joe and I will immediately ban chokeholds and carotid holds. George Floyd would be alive today if we did that. We will require a national registry for police officers who break the law. We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform, get rid of.
But that is being done for always. If he's guilty, he's
and
guilty.
we will decriminalize marijuana. And
Thank
we
you,
will.
Senator Harris.
We
Oh
will
yeah, she wants to
expunge the
legalize.
You want to decriminalize what you put people in jail for and then hit evidence. Okay.
And she smokes.
Senator Harris, your time
unarmed
is up.
Black people in America.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me pose the same question to you. In the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Well, our heart breaks for the loss of the innocent American life. And the family of Breonna Taylor.
But
has
she
our
was not
sympathies.
innocent.
But I trust our justice system. A grand jury that refused the evidence.
There you go.
It really is remarkable that as a former prosecutor, you would assume that an impaneled grand jury looking at all the evidence got it wrong. But I think with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. Justice will be served. But there's also no excuse for rioting and looting.
Say it!
I mean, it really is astonishing. Paul Westbrook is with us here tonight in Salt Lake City. Just a few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be a salon, burned to the ground by rioters and looters. And Flora is still trying to put her life back together. And I must tell you,
That's right.
This presumption that you hear consistently from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that America is systemically racist. And that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities.
If it's like that, then why is she the nominee for the DNC as vice president?
Law enforcement. We want everyone who puts on the uniform of law enforcement every day. President Trump and I stand with you. And it is remarkable that when Senator Tim Scott tried to pass the police reform bill, brought together a group of Republicans and Democrats, Senator Harris, you got up and walked out of the room.
That's right.
Senator Tim Scott bill on the Senate floor that would have provided new accountability, new resources, but we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement,
Pence 2024, all right,
and supporting our African American neighbors and all of our minorities. Under President Trump's leadership, we'll always stand with law enforcement, and we'll do what we've done from day one, and that is improve the lives of African Americans.
Thank you, Vice
Record
President
unemployment, record investments in education.
He's going in right now.
All of our
Thank you, Vice President. Senator Harris.
I will not sit here and be lectured by the Vice President
Of
on what to enforce the law.
You should listen.
Someone on this stage who was personally prosecuted, everything from child sexual assault to homicide.
Here we go.
I'm the only one on this stage who has prosecuted the big banks for taking advantage of America's homeowners. I'm the only one on this stage who prosecuted for-profit colleges for taking advantage of our veterans.
Oh my God.
The reality of this is that we are talking about an election in 27 days, where last week the president took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Oh my gosh.
And It wasn't like he
He
didn't
said
have
that's
a
not true.
chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back, stand by. And this is a part of a pattern.
Because
of
the
Donald
Proud
Trump's.
Boys are not
He
white
called
supremacists.
Mexicans.
They're not a hate group.
And they're not a hate
He
group.
instituted as his first act a Muslim ban. He on the issue of Charlottesville, where people were peacefully protesting the need for racial justice, where a young woman was killed. And on the other side, there were neo-Nazis carrying
Right here.
shouting racial epithets, anti-Semitic slurs.
See, again, she's dancing around this question.
Find people on both sides. This is who we have as the president of the United States.
That's been debunked like a million times.
Joe Biden will be a president who brings our country together, Senator Harris, and recognizes the beauty in our diversity and the fact that we all have so much more in common than what separates us.
Yeah.
Vice President Pence, let me give you a minute to respond.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that very much. You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did.
Damn.
Comments that
Right.
and others on our side of the aisle. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently admitted after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments,
That's right.
the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists. And
That's right.
repeated, you're concerned that he doesn't condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump his daughter-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects the of the American people. But you talk about having personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record.
Thank you.
I really need to make this point. When you were DA in San Francisco,
That's right. Spit it out quick.
African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than
That's a fact.
when you were Attorney General of California.
Thank you,
You
President.
Don't cut him off.
the disproportionate incarceration of
Thank you.
blacks in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to pass
Right.
that back on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record speaks
you,
for
Vice
itself.
President.
President Trump and I have
Don't call
fought
him now.
for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice
We
President
fought for
Pence.
educational choice and opportunities for African Americans, all of our
Thank you,
minorities,
sir.
and we'll do it for full.
Thank you. You know, there is no more important issue than the final issue that we're going to talk about tonight, and that is the issue of the election itself.
He attacked my record. I would like an opportunity to
Let me
He
give you
said the
30
truth.
seconds because we're running out of time.
Oh, she gets anytime she wants when she requests it.
having served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work that I did is a model of what our nation needs to do.
California's a model for nothing.
A Joe Biden presidency. Our agenda includes what this administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on opposing fraud goals,
Thank you.
not only,
Thank you, Senator.
I would like to go through,
Damn.
earlier in the hour, and I want to talk about the election itself before we have to.
but I want to talk about the connection between what Joe and I will do and my record, which
No.
includes,
Which
I was the first
Sorry. I thought you were the moderator. The moderator controls it. What happened?
that my agents would wear body cameras and keep them on full time. We were the first to initiate a requirement that there would be a training for law enforcement on implicit bias, because yes, Joe Biden and I recognize that implicit bias does exist, Mr. Vice President, contrary to what you may believe. We did the work of instituting reforms that were about investing in reentry. This is the work that we have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice President
Why not?
on our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our communities safe, and a commitment to reforming the criminal justice system of America.
Thank you, Senator Harris. And I'd like to pose I'd like you to respond first to the question on our final topic, the election itself. President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If your ticket wins and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what steps would you and Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You have 2 minutes.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are particularly proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of folks that you've ever seen in a presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents and Republicans. In fact, 7 members of President George W. Bush's cabinet are supporting our ticket.
Because they're rhinos.
The support of Colin Powell.
Because they're
Cindy
rhinos.
McCain, John Kasich, over 500.
That's right.
Generals, retired generals, and former national security experts and advisors are supporting our campaign. And I believe they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden has a deep, deep-seated commitment to fight for our democracy and to fight for the integrity of our democracy and to bring integrity back to the White House. And so we believe in the American people. We believe in our democracy. And here's what I'd like to say to everybody. So,
Constitutional Republic.
Early, come up with a plan to vote. Go to iwillvote.com. You can also go to joebiden.com. We have it within our power in these next 27 days to make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years. And it is within our power. And if we use our vote and we use our voice, we will win. And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing last week, when again in front of 70 million people, he openly attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden on that stage said, hey,
she never know what she's talking about.
So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please
like, it's so boring now.
Senator. Vice President Pence, President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election.
That is not true. That's a
winner, and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power. What would be your role and responsibility as vice president? What would you personally do? You have 2 minutes.
Well, Susan, first and foremost, I think we're going to win this election.
Woo!
That's right.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris rattle off a long litany. The establishment in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years. President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military. We revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting for fair trade, unleashing American energy. We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level. And we stood with the men and women of law enforcement. I think that movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years. When you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing.
I love it. I love him so much.
The FBI actually spied on President Trump and my campaign.
Say it.
I mean, there were documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. Of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what
say it louder.
Put the country through for the better part of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed.
That's right.
Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call. And now Hillary Clinton has actually said that Joe Biden would in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the election. So let me just say, I think we're going to win this election.
Yo, Pence is destroying her right now.
Amazing. He's destroying her like
Joe
he
Biden
won
and Kamala
tonight.
Harris for changing the rules.
Credit her.
Universal mail-in voting to create a massive opportunity for voter fraud. We have a free and fair election. We know we're going to have confidence in it. And I believe in all my heart that President Donald Trump is going to be reelected for 4 more years.
You know, I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate, I'd like to read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in Springville, Utah. And here's what she wrote, quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news, all I see is citizen against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are two candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens supposed to get along?" And then she added,
"That's right.
Examples could make all the difference to bring us together."
An 8th grader wrote that?
Of you in turn, I'd like you to take a minute and respond. Brecklin, Vice President Pence?
Supposedly an 8th grader.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question. And let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started following the news when I was very young. And in America, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate. And we celebrate that. It's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world.
Yes.
But I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on the local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States, one very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the two of them and their families were the very closest of friends.
Wow.
I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that
that's a good response.
We're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. The American people, each and every day, love a good debate. We love a good argument.
Without
always come together
attacking them, you see?
Yeah.
Thank you. Times of need.
Great.
Learned that.
Thank you,
through
Mr.
the
Vice President.
difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you think of that?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be. That is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle, working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden
saw how
has
Pence spoke to an 8th grader. She's talking to people in general.
And fighting for their dignity. You
But
have to know Joe's
was
story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love. And so
I don't know what she's talking about right now.
The future. I do believe the future is bright.
She's selling Biden instead of answering the question.
And it will be because we fight for each person.
We have a hard time staying on topic.
And we get engaged in this election because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote to determine the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We want to thank also the University of Utah for its hospitality, and most of all, our thanks to all the Americans who watched this debate tonight. Again, our best wishes for a quick recovery to President Trump, the First Lady, and everyone who is battling COVID-19. The second presidential debate is next week on October 15th, a town hall style debate in Miami. We hope you'll join us then.
Pence destroyed her, man. Killed him.
He totally did. He totally did.
He destroyed her so bad.
So So we are going to see if anybody wants to join us in phone calls. I am going to take this out now. Awesome. Okay. I want to see those comments. I want to see people calling us. I want to hear your thoughts. 908-249-0066 with your opinion. So let's see what you guys have to say. I don't know. This is my opinion. He killed it.
Yeah.
Went straight to the point. He answered every question except for the Russia thing. He should have added more to that. And he answered the abortion thing, right? He did.
No, I think he kind of he went back to a question, but I think he should have been more direct. Like I just would have been like, if you want to have abortion, go ahead, just not on the taxpayer, not on the taxpayer's budget, you know. And they specifically.
But he can do that because he can say that because he is against that. He's pro-life.
Sure, no, and I understand that, but I think the political answer would have been that because they automatically want to be like, would you cancel abortion? Will you make it illegal?
California, let's hear it.
Okay.
Good evening. You are on Lexit Movement Live. What do you have to say about this debate tonight? And what's your name? Mark from California, right?
Yes.
Okay, what do you have to say?
I thought that Vice President Pence did a great job. He answered all the questions. He made me feel really good about my vote in November.
Awesome. You're voting in person, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for supporting Lexit. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Awesome. We got the first caller.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Call in. Let's get him racking.
Let's get your opinions. We're gonna stay here for a couple of more minutes. We want to hear you out. And then I'm just gonna go to my Instagram because I know all my followers are waiting. Guys, so real quick, this is Noe. No, that's how in English, right?
No, yeah.
We're both Puerto Ricans. We speak English and Spanish, and he's our behind the scenes guy. He's also doing a little bit of everything. And say a little bit about what you do.
Well, so my name is Noe. Nice to meet everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed the debate as much as I did. I work with graphic design, and I work with music, audio, cleaning, websites, anything of that sort, animation. So if anyone wants any design work done or anything like that, please reach out at NOE Cuts. That's NOECUTZ. That on Instagram. Reach out and we can work something out, help you guys out. If you have a brand, we'll help you move it forward. We'll clean up pictures, anything you like, anything you need. But let's talk about this debate. Let me see who wants to comment about this debate.
I want you to say, like, I know you were talking about like he should have like gone straight more to the point. I think the thing where he needed more strength and more boldness, because he was bold.
Yeah.
It was like we said, abortion in Russia. Even though he added to that at the end, he was like, "Oh, the Russian hoax, the collusion, whatever." But honestly, I think I wanted to hear more on that. But then after that, this is amazing. Like his brain at his age. I mean, these are people that have so much.
He's sharp.
Every day, and he was amazing. He was amazing. Guys, we're waiting for your call. If you want to say whatever, it's real quick. You guys don't have to say much. Just, hey, my name is such. I'm from this state. Okay, here we have A-Rod. Hey, A-Rod.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing good. You watched the debate?
Yeah, I watched the debate. Thought it was a dope.
Yeah. We kind of lost you there. Hello. Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, I watched the debate, and to be honest, she was saying something totally different that Biden was saying last week.
That's true.
She
was contradicting everything he was saying, and actually going against what's on her actual website too. So you don't know what to believe on the website, what she's saying,
what he's saying.
Exactly. So it's actually embarrassing, and I like how Pence just kept on repeating the same thing that they've done, and what he's actually the fact that they're mimicking what Trump and them are doing.
Yes, plagiarism.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So no, I thought it was good. I thought Pence did an awesome job. He kept his composure. It's hard to keep your composure when you know that nobody's fact checking the person that's right next to you.
Oh my God. Yes.
So yeah, I thought he did a really good job, and he kept, like I said, he kept his composure, and it's hard when the person next to you is lying. I was just actually talking to a coworker right now, and he said she's lying, and I said, she's. Did you see on the Breakfast Club where she talked about smoking weed for different ounce of weed?
Yep.
They're hypocrites, and so I thought it was good though.
Thank you, A-Rod. That was A-Rod from Lexit. Follow him on A-Rod_lives4. Okay. I think we had another phone call. If you guys wanna call, I had another phone call from Jesse, the founder of Lexit. He was calling me the same time that A-Rod was calling. Hey, brother. So we were having A-Rod on the phone. So how are you doing, guys? This is Jesse.
That was A-Rod right now?
Yeah.
Oh, A-Rod. Hey, he sounded different.
Yeah.
Man, I just want to say, my boy Pence put it down.
Yeah.
So good, man. I'm just so proud of him. All she was doing was up there was just lying. And then she was refusing to answer or giving like non-answers just about race. I loved even to the police question. She's like, about racism. He's like basically like, how dare you accuse the police? I mean, he's all, and then he goes, you should be ashamed because you were a whatever prosecutor and you're saying like the grand jury.
It was drop after drop.
Jury without evidence. Yeah, like he was like, because the grand jury, we don't even. Grand jury seen all the evidence, so that means not only she's saying the cops are all racist, but that means all the grand jury was racist too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. The evidence. What the hell?
Yep, definitely. That's a great point that you made. And she kept just going around the questions, never answering the questions. I mean, come on. If you guys, thank you so much. Just follow us on Lexit Movement. That was Jesse, our founder. Thank you guys so much. One more thing, I see people joining. If you just joined, we were just going through the whole debate. We were having fun. Oh my gosh, it was a blast. I want you guys to call this number and just give us your opinion real quick. Just give us your opinion. We have some people calling already. We have people from California. Where is my people from Texas, from Utah?
In Florida. What's up, Florida? Nobody from Florida?
I mean, come on. Where are you guys? Where's everybody? I see 36 people here. Somebody must have a phone next to them to call. I mean, come on.
I wish Pence would have gone more into the whole Obamagate stuff and the whole
and none of them, not even or Trump have thrown the whole you ain't black thing. Like they should do that.
Yeah. I would have called them out. On the whole racist question, I would have called out every single thing that Biden has said that is racially charged, which he has said many of those things.
And I would have added more into what she did as a prosecutor.
Yeah, for sure.
Ignored so many cases of rape by the priests in her area.
Wow, I don't know that.
A whole documentary about that. Okay. So when she was being nominated for VP, all of those things came out, like meet the real Harris, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things that they don't know, and you know, because of Biden, a lot of African American, because of the bill crime and stuff like that, and other even Hispanic, when they get out of jail, they can find jobs. Like their lives are ruined just because a little felony, like, you know.
All Biden has in his 47 years of public service is the crime bill. You know, that's all he has. He hasn't really done, and a lot of plagiarism issues that he had, lied about being top of his class. And he's lying now because he lies about how he's not going to end fracking, which he's been on the record saying that he's going to end fracking on the record. He's on that. Also about raising your taxes. He has talked about he's going to raise taxes all across the board. So
how is the government? How the government is gonna give you free stuff if they don't raise the taxes? Where are they gonna get the money from? Look at Venezuela. What did they do? They promised that to Venezuela, and that's how come Chavez and then Maduro came into power. And what happened? They took the money out from the working class, from the blue collar, and they gave it to the poor. Okay. In the United States of America, I believe that there's no like poor like other countries. So the poor in America is the people that actually just are government dependent. That's the actual poor people. That's me. That's my opinion. So I don't. You don't need to share this opinion with me. No way.
No, that's cool.
My opinion. But I see, like the other day when he was debating Trump, he was saying, "Oh, we are giving the free healthcare to people that the Medicaid recipients." First of all, Medicaid recipients already have free healthcare.
Already, that's true.
So why are you promising and offering something that's already been in place for years?
Yeah, and I think all these free offerings. I don't know if people understand that when they say free school, free college, free healthcare, it's not free. I mean, it's coming from your taxes, because the government runs on your taxes. That's how they operate and run. They don't produce anything. The government is not a private entity. They don't produce a product. They live on your taxes.
Yeah, and now if you open a business, let's say in 4 years you're better, or let's say in 3 years you're better, and Biden and Harris are in power still, all your money is gonna be for nothing. Or your money's gonna go to other people that are not working, that are not doing anything for this country, that are living from the government, while the government continues to be the elite, continues to feed from you, and the poor people from you. So who's gonna be the actual poor people? Us, the working class.
Yeah, and this notion that you can just tax the rich all this high amounts of tax and they're going to pay for it, that's a lie. Rich people have things and commodities and avenues and reach that us middle class, lower class don't have, right? Like they can pay accountants to avoid taxes or do what they got to do, which is totally legal that they can do. We don't have that luxury. So when you do this to taxes, you're going to force businesses to leave doing business here and going somewhere else, right? So you're going to destroy jobs here, and what you're going to do is that you're going to put the tax burden on the middle class, and that's where the money is, because the majority of the taxpayer burden is on the middle class.
No, I mean,
that's what they want.
It's just insane. All the policies. That is why I'm voting for Trump. That's why I'm voting for Trump, and I'm so happy that I am. I mean, there's nothing else. We have to understand that we only have two choices here. Just like in 2016, we had either Hillary Clinton, the baby killer, because that's how I called her in 2016, because that was like my main thing that why I didn't want to vote for her. And then we have here Donald J. Trump, who was the person who we didn't know if he was gonna do it, but he said he was gonna do it. I trusted his resume on building anything from scratch. And I think he rebuilt the United States of America. He made it great before the coronavirus happened. Mm-hmm. And one crazy thing that I saw today, she was saying, the virus happened because of China. Okay, but she kind of like meant like the war. It was because
I don't know what she was talking about, the war. She was like mixing things.
Canceling that because we canceled all these things with China, and now we're making China pay. That's why there's a war now, and that's why we have coronavirus. So are you saying, and this is just me, are you saying that China a propósito purposely sent the coronavirus because of the deal that we did with them?
I mean, I believe that. I believe that.
She kind of like literally, if you are like, if you have your eyes open and ears open, you definitely like listen to what she said, and you're like, damn. She said it like 3 times back to back.
I wish Pence would
Closer and whatever. And so what you mean is maybe because we don't know these things, maybe they threatened the president because they're communist. And the president was like, I don't deal with terrorists, or you pay what you have to pay, or no deal. And they had to accept the deal. But then they sent the coronavirus, killing more than I don't know how many thousand Americans so far. And I say I don't know because we know the numbers have been inflated.
Oh yeah.
The virus is real. We know the virus kills. We now know more about the virus than we did in, of course, January, February. But you know what also bothers me is that the left continuously keeps saying that Trump knew, Trump knew, Trump knew. Okay, what about Fauci knew? Because you want us to believe in science only whenever you want us to. We believe in science, we're wrong. We don't believe in science, we're wrong. So which one is it? Which one is it? What do I do? Because I was waiting for Fauci to tell me what to do. And Fauci said, nah, there's no risk. It's okay. Then we have Pelosi saying, oh, yeah, come to China. And then she was trying to like sugarcoating.
That's what I'm talking about.
She was trying to sugarcoating it by saying, no, we were just like embracing the Chinese culture because Trump was being a racist. No, he was not being a racist. He was telling Fauci, should I close the country? I need to close the country. No, everything is fine. No, don't worry. So you want to blame all of this on Trump when he was in fact listening to science? Now, he figures out that science is not telling him things the right way. He's like, okay, let me do a little bit of my own thing. And then he's wrong for that too. So which one is it, people?
Yeah, but they keep blaming them, saying in January they knew and they hid it and all that. But people forget that in, I think, February 4th was the State of the Union. And Trump addressed the coronavirus in the State of the Union. We talked about it. How they were
that Pelosi ripped off the State of Union speech.
Yeah. So he addressed that they were looking at it, that it was happening in China. Yeah, they were looking at it closely and they were willing to help the Chinese people. So he addressed it. They didn't keep it quiet. They didn't hide it. That's a lie. Plus, like to your point, what you said, you had all these Democrats. Once he closed Chinatown, travel from China, they were in Chinatown. They were saying, you're a racist, you're xenophobic, and all that. So I believe they caused more infection and death than anything. I mean, just look at New York. Look at New York. Look at the death toll in New York, and what they tell you to do. They tell you to quarantine, and 60%, I believe, or 70 causes of hospitalizations was because of people in quarantine. So you're telling me that quarantine works? And it's good, and that's the model. New York is the model, and they had the highest death rate. Come on, man, you're crazy.
And something to know, because I live close to New York. I was born in New York. I live in New Jersey, and after New York, New Jersey became the target because a lot of the people that work in the city live in New Jersey. So they brought the virus to New Jersey to the point that New Jersey had more cases in a certain point than New York. But New York, the governor of New York, he made such a big commotion about the virus. Oh, I need a hospital. And they built 4 hospitals in parks, including one in Central Park.
They
brought the ship, the hospital, and they never used it. They never used the hospitals. Everything sent back, and it's like, and the governor of New York, and even the one from New Jersey, they send people with COVID to nursing homes, killing a lot of elderly. Why don't you cover that, people? Why don't the mainstream media covers this?
And we knew from the beginning that elderly were more vulnerable. Like we knew this. I knew that like from the beginning of the outbreak. Like we knew that.
But then she said on the debate tonight, she said, oh, because they knew it would attack young people and this. And I'm like, no, it was not young people. It was old people. The whole time they were like old people, old people, old people. Then they said, oh, now we have some cases of kids, or we have cases of young people now. And then they kept bringing about, oh, these people have no symptoms. These people have symptoms. This is airborne. This is not airborne.
Yep.
Through surface. This is not through surface anymore. You can get contaminated by this or by that. So after this whole commotion, a lot of studies have come out that it doesn't transmit through the surface.
Yeah. Before you couldn't touch anything because the virus was alive.
Anything. You had to wear gloves. I remember where people were wearing gloves.
I still see it today. I still see it.
Shields for everything and everywhere. It's like, chill. And you know what's the crazy thing? We are in the flu season, and every year, and let me tell you guys, the flu has never been gone. You know, the flu stayed. And that's what's gonna happen with the coronavirus. It's gonna stay, it's not gonna go away. So one day they're gonna have to stop wearing the masks. And one day they're gonna come up with the vaccine, and whoever wants to get the shot, they get it, just like the flu. And whoever doesn't want to get the shot, they don't get the shot. I'm in my 30s, and I have never had the shot for the flu. And I thank God that the 2 times that I have gotten the flu, I've been fine within a week and a half. But we call it la monga.
La monga, sí.
For us, it's not the flu, but la monga.
Monguilla.
I got the bone breaker.
Yeah.
You know, but guys, thank you so much for watching, for supporting us. Thank you for the ones that called. I would, Richie, why don't you call before we close out? You're one of like our super loyal, faithful, super amazing fans and followers. But definitely we'd like to see you guys tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. We have a nice show with Marissa, the Puerto Rican patron, and me, La Trompista, tomorrow at the time that I told you guys, same channel. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know, Richie, if you want to call, because I am about to close this broadcast. Okay, he's saying next time.
Para la próxima.
God bless you. Have a good one.
Have a good one.